Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Radha Srivasali Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Hari Bo. Thank you so much.
Hari Hari Bo. Amazing.
Really
So
wonderful,
sweet. Wonderful. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So really wonderful Kirtan, Mataji, Prabhuji. So amazing. Thank you so much for wonderful Kirtan. And
thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, Mukta Sangha Prabhu is also saying amazing Kirtan. So, yeah, once again, thank you very much for the wonderful Kirtan. And next, yeah, Mukta Sangha is not feeling well today, so we will continue next program, that is the Bhagavad Gita reading, recitation, and like understanding of the Bhagavad Gita series. So Ajit Krishna Prabhu will be joining little late today, and till then we will like go for that last time what we have already covered. So we'll go for like to understand how much we have covered, and so let's see. Let me, yeah. So anybody would like to volunteer for that? Means what last time we have covered. So recap. Anybody would like to do? Tyagu Prabhu, Mitra Vinda Mantaji. So last time we did verse number 4, 5, 6, 3 verses. If you can tell anything. Tyagu Prabhu from the recap. Do you remember? Ajit Krishna Prabhu will be joining late, so we will have to like so.
Was that the 4th chapter, Prabhu?
It's a 5th chapter, Mataji.
5th chapter, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, verse number 5, 4, 5th, and 6th verse we did last time. Now today we will be doing 7th, 8th, and 9th. So before that, we'll try to recap how much whatever we have done. So if you can do that, otherwise, like let me recap what we did. Like I will try to link all the chapters in 5th chapter. So in the first chapter, when we see that, I will take approx 5 to 7 minutes, approx 10 minutes. Till then, Ajit Krishna Prabhu will join. So once he will join, he will carry out. So that's he has informed like he will be little late. So in the so let's review that how is the link of the chapter. Chapter number 1 linked to the chapter number 2, then chapter number 2 to the 3, and 3rd to the 4th, and 4th to the 5th. So first chapter is the that is the first chapter. Arjuna is bewildered. Arjuna is bewildered, like when he saw the armies, both sides of the armies. He told Krishna to put my chariot in the middle of the army. Senior Vayor Madhya. So put my chariot in the middle of the army to see who all are standing for the fight. So when he saw that his Guru, Dronacharya, Bhishma, and all are standing at the opposite side, and the other side his Pandava's army, and also he is thinking like both will be fighting, and so all will be dying. So he got bewildered from that. So 5 region was there in the first chapter that Arjuna got bewildered. So that was the main reason he told like I will not fight in this war. So first reason was compassion. He was compassionate for the like all the people assembled there. Keeping compassionate in mind, he decided not to fight. That was the first reason. Second reason was like he thought of after fighting, so many people will be killed. So if so many people will be killed, so he will incur sin, because he will be also killing the people. And once we kill someone, so we will incur sin. So thinking that, Arjuna refused to fight. The third reason was like if he kills many, all the mains, so there will be kind of Varna Sankara. So because all the men's will be killed, so women's will not be getting protected, and so he will be like reason for that the Varna Sankara, that unwanted progeny will be happening. That was the third reason. And fourth region was social region, that he will not enjoy even though he will win the battle. So if he wins, he has to show someone that I have won the war, and then he can get the pleasure. Suppose if we get something, and if we do not, nobody will notice that I have so much of opulence, so I will not enjoy. So that was the fourth region, social region. And fifth region was indecision. By taking these four things in mind, he was not able to decide. So one by one, five regions. First region was that he was compassionate. Second region, he was thinking about the sins. It will incur sin. Third region, Varna Sankara will happen. Unwanted progeny. Fourth region, that was the social region, that he will not enjoy even though he wins. And fifth region, that fifth region, he was not able to decide based upon these all four regions, indecision. So Arjuna gave up. He's told like, I will not fight the war. So Krishna thought, if he is not fighting the war, so how these all demonic people will be killed? So he gave the Buddhi Yoga in the second chapter. So that is the Buddhi Yoga. So he gave the intelligence to the Arjuna. So when Arjuna got Buddhi Yoga, so thinking like in that Buddhi Yoga, I will have to go to the forest, and I can do the meditation, because that is the intelligence not to fight, just to escape the war. So that's the Buddhi Yoga he's thinking of. So Arjuna, means Krishna is thinking like, whatever I told him about the Buddhi Yoga, that is not working for him. He is thinking the other way. So then after second chapter, third chapter, Krishna is saying about the Karma Yoga. You have to do some activity. So there we went through the karma, sakam karma, then niskam karma, and then akarma. Sakarma, niskam karma, and akarma. So because every time we have to do some activities. So that is the karma yoga. So in sakam karma, that means we are expecting whatever activity we are doing, we are expecting for some fruitive activity. Means we have some motivation, we have some desire. And then niskam karma, that is the Krishna consciousness. That means we have to do our whatever activity we are doing, offering to the Krishna. That is the Krishna consciousness, that keeping Krishna in center, we are doing all activities. Even though we are doing grihastha life, whatever family affairs, just if we are having devotee and we in our family, and we have deity in our house is the temple, and Krishna is in center, we are doing activity related to the Krishna. So 24/7 we can do the Krishna conscious service. So that is the Niskam Karma Yoga. And then there is the that is the Akarma, Bikarma. So first is the Sakarma, then second is the Niskam Karma, that is the Akarma, and then there is the Bikarma. The Bikarma is not by not following the any scriptures, whatever the activity done without following the scriptures, that is the Bikarma. That is like the demons or those who are atheists, they do that. So that's the Bikarma. So when we distinguish these three karma, so then we can understand like what is the actual what actually we have to do. So because we are the part and parcel of Krishna, so we have our tendency to do the Krishna consciousness, because we have come from the Krishna only. So that's what our constitutional position, to love Krishna, to do loving devotional service to the Krishna, and go back to home, back to Godhead, back to Krishna. So that's the That's the Sakam karma, Nishkam karma, and Vikarma. So that we studied in the third chapter, that is the Karma Yoga. Then there is the fourth chapter coming up, fourth chapter, that is the Transcendental Knowledge. That is the fourth chapter, Transcendental Knowledge. So by these three karma, Krishna, Arjuna is saying that if I have to then do these all activity, then how this activity will be like Krishna conscious, and then can you tell me the details about that, this knowledge, how I can understand? So Krishna is telling that transcendental knowledge, that is the fourth chapter, that is about the transcendental knowledge, how this knowledge came, from the beginning. Like Krishna is saying that it came, first I told to the sun god Vivaswan, and then from sun god Vivaswan, it came to the Raj Rishis, and by that following way, it came to now it is, this Bhagavad Gita is going on, and this scriptures going on. So Arjuna got again bewildered, saying that you are in my age, so how you are saying that you gave this knowledge to the sun god Vivaswan? So Krishna is explaining like, I means what I can remember all of present, past, and future, but you cannot remember. I can remember all the birth, past times, but you cannot remember. So that means indirectly Krishna is indicating to Arjuna that he is the supreme person. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Then Arjuna is, this way he is understanding like Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, but still he is having doubt. So doubt in the sense about the transcendental knowledge. So Krishna is explaining how this knowledge came. So Krishna is saying, Evam parampara praptam evam rajasriya buddhu sakalayana hamata yogo nashtaha param tapa. So this knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, this Divya Gyan came by following this parampara. Parampara, like if you see that first, everything emanates from Krishna, as we know that, right? Everything emanates from Krishna, and Krishna is the honor for everything. So if we go for the details also, like how is the expansion, this knowledge came to this earth, and what we are reading, this transcendental knowledge and the scriptures. So these all came from Krishna. How? So there is a expansion also from Krishna. Balramji expanded. From Balramji, there is a Chaturbuha expansion where Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pardimna, Aniruddha expanded. That is the first Chaturbuha. Then from Sankarsana, there is Narayan expanded, and from the Narayan, then second level of Chaturvyuha expanded. That is the Vasudeva, Pradumna, Aniruddha, Sankarsana. And from second level of Chaturvyuha, Sankarsana, there is the Kanodaka Sai Vishnu, that is the Mahavishnu appears, and from Kanodaka, he from his pores, like all the pores, several universe, millions of million universe appears, and in each and every universe, then Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu enters in that. So in that, and then in that Garbhodaka Sai, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu enters in that universe, and he does that maintenance and all activity, and then he creates Brahmaji. He creates he called Brahmaji in that each and every universe, and Brahmaji that manage, and then Krishna enters in the each and every living entity as a Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. So this way, so when Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu creates Brahmaji. So that is the Mahavishnu. He imparts the knowledge to the, that is the, here Vishnu is the emanation from the Krishna himself. So he imparts the knowledge to the Brahmaji. So hope you will try to understand this chain. And so overall, this knowledge came from the Krishna in that way. And that is the transcendental knowledge. Evam parampara praptam evam rajasrayo vidus sakalena hamata yogo nashta parantapa. So by hearing this, Arjuna is again thinking of, like how then Krishna, why you come here and how you, what activity you do. So Krishna is explaining further in the 4th chapter, which we have read through. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam sriyamayam paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambayamami yugevya. So whenever and wherever, yada yada hi dharmasya, whenever and wherever there is decline of religious principle, I descend myself and I protect the devotees, I inherit the miscreants, and I establish the principle of religion. So that's what by main basic 3 reasons Krishna descends in this material world, and he protects the devotee. That is the main purpose, and he gives the darshan to the devotee. That is the main purpose, and that's what when we are reading through the scriptures in this Bhagavad Gita, we are directly relating to Krishna. We are so that's next that is Krishna is saying about the next verse. That was the 7 and verse 4.7 and 4.8. 4.9 is saying Krishna janma karma chame divyam yovam yavati tatvatah tyaktava deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So those who understand my birth and activity, so after giving up this body, they never take birth again. So when that means whenever we are reading this Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or any scriptures, we are trying to understand about the Lord's activities, pastimes, and the how Krishna took birth, and now tomorrow is the Radharani appearance day. So these all things, transcendental knowledge, we are Shravanti, Gayanti, Grinanti Sadhava. So that we are doing, we are chanting the holy names, we are chanting, we are reading, and we are hearing. So these all are the transcendental knowledge. So whenever we are doing the all activity in this sadhu sangha, so these all are the Dibya Gyan. So that's what Krishna is saying. Those who understand my janma and karma, that is the birth and activity, after quitting the body, they never take birth again. So it's not only, sometimes we understand at the end of our life, antakalecha mameva smarna muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasyatra sansayara. So that means only at the end of the life, if we do not remember Krishna, so we will not go back to home, back to Godhead. Or if we remember Krishna, then we will go back to home, back to Godhead. So it's not exactly like that. But when we, Krishna is also saying, Janma karma cha me divyam, yavam yavati tatvata. So those who understand my janma and karma, my birth and activity, they come to my abode. So there is no doubt in that. So this also applies what Krishna is saying. So that is there in the 4th chapter. These all things, and how these all things, transcendental knowledge we can understand. So Krishna is saying that in the last of the 4th chapter, that is the verse number 34. If we see there, tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. So this transcendental knowledge you can only understand through the medium of Guru, because Krishna himself comes as the form of the Guru, because Krishna directly cannot come in every time, but he sends his representative, they are Guru. So tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darsana. So we have to approach the Guru, we have to be humble, and we have to offer obeisances to the Guru, and submissively we should ask the question like like how things, how is the janma and karma of the Krishna, what are the pastime activities of the Krishna, and we can associate with the senior devotees, senior Vaishnava, and we try to understand about the Lord pastime. Shravanti, Gayanti, Gridhanti Sadhava. So we can hear about the Krishna pastime, we can sing about the Krishna pastime, and we can accept in our heart. Shravanti, that is the hearing, Gayanti, that is the singing, Gridhanti, accepting in our heart about the Krishna. So by the medium of the Guru, these all things we can do. And who is the Guru? Then who is the Guru? So Krishna said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami said, Guru Rupe Krishna Hane Sastrera Parmana, Guru Rupe Krishna Hane Sastrera Parmana, Guru Rupe Krishna Karane Bhaktagana, means Krishna Kripa Karane Bhaktagana. So Krishna comes in the form of the Guru, and he showers the mercy, his mercy. By that mercy, we can understand the scriptures. So that's there in the 4th chapter. So 4th chapter, Transcendental Knowledge, it is very, 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 that is the Divya Gyan. We cannot understand by our intelligence, our mind. It's so, like Gohiyam Akhyati Prikshati. So Gohiyam Akhyati Prikshati, that means it's a very, very confidential. So as we can understand by whatever the knowledge we have, whatever intelligence we have, that much only. Because in this Kali Yuga, we have very limited knowledge. So that's the Manda Sumanda Mataya, Manda Bhagya Him Pavita. So we have, because Kale, and after that, also Krishna says in the end of the Bhagavatam, Kaler dose nidhe rajan, asti hiye eka mahan guna, kirtanad ev Krishnasya mukta sangha param bhaje. Like, so in this Kali Yuga, there are lots of faults. Lots of faults are there. So many faults. We have 4 defects in the human body. What are the 4 defects we have? Anybody can volunteer? 4 defects we have. That is the first, we have imperfect senses, right? Our senses are imperfect senses. Then we have that because of the imperfect senses, we get illusion. We do not know what exactly we should know, what the real things. So we have the imperfect senses, then we get illusion, and then by that illusion, we do cheating. So we do cheating propensity. We have the cheating propensity. And when we do the cheating propensity, we have that, so we commit the mistake. So when we do that cheating propensity, then we commit the mistake. So these 4 defects we have. So Kalir dose nidhe rajan asti hiye ke mahanda. In Kali Yuga, there are several like the defects, but only one good thing is there. What is that good thing? What is that good thing? So good thing is asti ek mahan guna kirtanad eva Krishnasya. So doing the sadhu sangha, kirtana, japa, meditation on the Bhagavad Gita, reading scriptures, Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya, then that is the, like Kirtana Deva Krishna Seva, then what we will get that, what we will achieve by that, Mukta Sangha Param Bhajit. We'll go back to home, back to Godhead. We'll go back to home, back to Godhead. We'll go to the Krishna abode. We'll go to the Krishna abode. So that's the That's the beauty of this Kali Yuga. And these were not there in the other Yuga, because other Yugas were very, very difficult. Krite yad dhyayate Vishnu, Treta yad yagate yajate makha, Dwapare paricharyanam, Kalata dhari kirtana. So Krite yad dhyayate Vishnu. In Satya Yuga, Krite yad dhyayato Vishnu. In Satya Yuga, people were doing meditation, even meditation like years of year, thousands of years, even 60,000 years. They were doing the meditation. So people's life were 100,000, maximum 100,000 in the Satya Yuga. Then Treta Yuga, so Treta Yuga, that is 10,000 years. So in Treta Yuga, that was like Treta Yam Yajate Makha. So fire sacrifice, that was the prominent on that time. So fire doing, so because in Kali Yuga, fire sacrifice, we don't have purity and all, so we cannot do, in Satya Yuga, they were doing the meditation and all. We don't have that much of sense control. We cannot do that much of meditation to please the Lord. In Treta Yuga, they were doing the fire sacrifice. So we don't have that much of purity to do the fire sacrifice. And Dwapare Paricharyana, in Dwapar Yuga, that is that deity worship. So with that much of cleanness we do not have. We can do the proper deity worship, what is recommended, like in the Narad Pancharatraka. So, and the proper what is recommended, we can do. So what we have in this Kali Yuga, so Kalot Adhari Kirtana. So doing the Kirtan, Sankirtan, reading the scriptures, understanding about the Lord. So that's the Janma Karma Chame Divyam Yevam Yevati Tatvatah Tyaktavadeham Punarjanma Naiti Mama so Arjuna. So that was the transcendental knowledge Krishna gave to the Arjuna in the 4th chapter. So by getting this transcendental knowledge, Arjuna is trying to understand more and more about this knowledge, how this knowledge I can apply, because in 3rd chapter, Krishna has given the karma, about the karma yoga. So how that transcendental knowledge he can apply with the karma yoga, and so that's what Arjuna is curious to know. So now in the 5th chapter, Krishna is telling, like karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Karma yoga plus transcendental knowledge, what he has given in the 4th chapter. By mixing of these two, he is doing that karma yoga, 5th chapter, karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. So karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness, the first text we studied about, Arjuna is asking the question, what is the better, and what is the better and more beneficial for me? That is the work or renunciation. He's asking the difference. If you remember the first text we studied, whether the work is beneficial or renunciation is beneficial. So both seems to be the very, 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 very close to each other. We should do the work or we should renounce the work. So what is that we should do? So work in devotion is very easier, and it's very easy to do. And but we have to think of like we are not doing like dry mental speculation like the atheist people or Mayavadi people do. So we have to be careful of that. So next we understood in the first text that is about the work in devotion is better as compared to the renunciation of the work, because the whatever activity we are doing, if we offer to the Krishna, yat karosi, yad yasnasi, yad juhosi dadasi, yad tapasyasi kantaye, tat kurusva madarpana. Krishna is saying that whatever you do, whatever activity you perform, whatever, whatever offering you are doing, do it for me. Do it for me. So if we are doing offering to Krishna, whatever work we are doing, if we are offering to Krishna, that is the Krishna consciousness, and that is the work in devotion. So that is better than renunciation of the work. Renunciation of the work means just not do anything and just sit down. Go in the forest and do meditation. Don't do anything. Keep your cloth on the mouth. Don't speak. You must have seen, in India, you can see there are different religion, sampradaya. They keep, cloth on the mouth. They won't speak. They are, fasting with the speech. So fasting with the speech is not the renunciation of the work. Your mind is still thinking. Thinking, feeling, willing is going on. You are thinking so much of criticism for the devotees and for the others, and good, better, best, for yourself and for the how enviousness you are for the others. So whatever activity whatever we are doing, we just think for the Krishna. We can do for the Krishna. Whatever work we are doing, even though in the office we are earning money from that we can spend for our household, and devotees are there in our house, and Krishna is Radha Syam Sudhar, Radha Madhav are there in our as a deity. So we are serving them. Whatever the money we are earning, that is going for the Krishna, and whatever donation even we can do to the temple, that is for the Krishna service. Yagya dana tapaschaiva pavanani manisanam yagya dana tapaschaiva yagya dana tapaschaiva na karyam na tyajat karyam yevacha yagya dana tapaschaiva pavanani manisanam. So when we do that charity, and when we do the donations, so these purify ourselves. So this helps in our purifications. So that was there in the first text. And then second text was like it was related to path of action, and that is the Krishna conscious action. So we should have Krishna conscious action versus fruitive action. So we should not have the fruitive action. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in the Sikshastram, na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisa kame mam janmani janmanisware bhagavatat bhakti rahetu titavai. So what he said, like, we should not have any desire for that. Whatever we are doing the activity, we should not desire for the the money, opulence and all. But generally, people go in the temple, they ask deity to the so many things. Being devotee, we do not ask, but in general, people do this activity. So this is also like in the Bhagavatam, if we see that how Krishna conscious action is we have to perform, it is given hetuki apratihata yatma suprasiddhati savai punsam paro dharma no savai punsam paro dharmo yato bhakti yadokshaje hetuki apratihata yatma suprasiddhati. So savai punsam paro dharma, we have several duties. We have parent duty, mother duty, and we have that household duty, we have that office duty, and every duty. So what is the topmost duty? The topmost duty is to please the Lord. Adhokshaja savai punsam paro dharma yato bhakti adhokshaja. We have to do the bhakti to the adhokshaja, that is Krishna. Ahetuki apratihata, that should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. Ahetuki, there should not be any hetu, there should not be any desire, there should not be any fruitive activity, fruitive demand. Otherwise, that will be business to the Lord. So that's what in the second text we have that the path of action. The path of action should be in Krishna conscious action versus fruitive action. So it should be Krishna conscious action, and devotee is always having the Krishna conscious action, not fruitive action. Because Krishna also said in other parts of the Bhagavad Gita, four kind of devotee worship me. Chaturvidham bhajante mam jana sukritina Arjuna artho arthati ज्ञानी भारत अर्थो अर्थाति जिज्ञासु ज्ञानी च भारत सर्व. No, so four kind of people worship me. What kind of four kind of people? Chaturvidham, four kind of people. Chaturvidham bhajante ma jana sakritina Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, four kind of people worship me. Artho, those who are distressed. Artho arthati, those who desire for money. Artho arthati, jigyasu, those who are inquisitive to know me, they also worship me. Artho arthatu, jigyasi, jnani, those who are jnani, those who are intelligent, those who are having the knowledge to know about the Krishna as a Krishna conscious, So jnani cha bharat sarva, topmost is the jnani. So here jnani is also related to those who are in the search of the Krishna and want to know the tattva. Tattva-darsina, So they are the jnani. So Krishna conscious action or fruitive actions. So that should be desire of always Krishna conscious action, not fruitive actions. And then later on this text too, we had that to understand about the path of renunciation. So path of renunciation, Ajita Krishna Prabhu was telling about there are two paths of renunciation. One is the Falgu and second is the Yukta. So Falgu is the incomplete. That is the, Falgu is the kind of cheating kind of renunciation. Somebody has renounced, but still having all attachment to the family members, like what they will be doing, what they are doing, and the all things. He had weared the, the clothes and took the renunciation, but still he is attached to that. So that is the Falgu Vairagya, that is the incomplete renunciation. And second is the Yukta, renunciation. So Yukta Vairagya, that is the complete renunciation. Those who have taken renunciation and only offering to the Krishna whatever the activity they are doing to the Krishna. So that is the Yukta Vairagya. So that we had in the text 2. And then further we had, text 4, 5, 6, we already went through. So now Ajita Krishna Prabhu has joined. So I think he will start from here. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. So till then you join. We were just going through the link of the chapters, how the chapters are linked, and verse number 1 and 2 from the chapter number 5. And we are just trying to recap. So, so all that. So far we try to recap, the link of the chapters, and from the 5th chapter, verse number 1 and 2, we discussed. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam Krish Prabhupada. I don't know if you can hear me or not. The internet is a little unstable, it sounds like.
Yes, Prabhuji, your voice is little breaking.
Okay. Let me see. I'm going to try to join from my phone or something. Let me see if that's better.
Recording in progress.
Is that better?
This is echoing, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So one device, if you can mute. So yeah, the second one, sound is good. The echoing, the previous one, if you can mute.
Now can you hear me?
We hear you, but there is the echo, Prabhuji.
Okay, now.
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, good. Well, that's good.
You'll be off video.
Is that okay now, Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu, it's perfectly fine.
Good, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Sorry, everybody. I was a little late. I was trying to get back home on time, but just got a little late. Okay, so chapter 5. Actually, now that we don't have that much time, maybe we'll just do a short kind of thing. So, Ramchan Prabhu, you said you were recapping verses 1 and 2, or what we've done up till now, is it?
Yeah, Prabhu. So we recap verse number 1 and 2, and yeah, and we recapped about the link of the chapters. Chapter 1, how it is linked to chapter 2, chapter 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, and how we came to chapter 5, and then we discussed about chapter 5, text 1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay, and last time we had actually gone through verses 6.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6.
And of course, it's right. So, I mean, there's not that much time to do a whole lot more. What we can do is maybe text 7. We'll just touch upon text 7. Is that okay? We'll just do one text.
Yeah.
So, would someone like to read, please? Text 7.
Yeah.
Okay, Ji, I'll read.
Yeah,
Yeah, please go ahead, Prabhu.
yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Tyagi.
Yoga Yukto Visuddhatma
Yoga Yukta Visuddhatma
Vijidatma Jitendriya
Vijidatma Ditendriya
Sarvabhutatma Bhutatma
Sarvabhutatma Bhutatma
Kurvanapi na lipyate.
Kurvanapi na lipyate.
Na lipyate.
Translation G. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Tyagi. Thank you. So, one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. So, verses 7 to 12, we're just starting this section now, but verses 7 through 12 will talk about the how to perform Nishkama Karma Yoga. So up until now, verses 1 through 6, Krishna was basically describing Nishkama Karma Yoga and why that is easier. Why that is easier than just renouncing work. Because remember, Arjun's question to Krishna was that, Krishna, first you tell me to renounce work and then you're telling me to engage in this warfare. So I'm very confused. I mean, what is, like, tell me clearly, what exactly do you want me to do? And so Krishna's explained to him in verses 1 through 6 that working without attachment to the results of the work is much better than just renouncing work. Because, and well, we'll come to the because later, but verses 7 through 12, those will now talk about how exactly to perform work without attachment to the results. So here Krishna gives us the opening or the introduction to how one can work without attachment to the results. And first point he makes is one who works in devotion. One who works in devotion. Second, one who is a pure soul. Third, one who controls his mind and senses. Now, these are three characteristics that he's described of a person who works without attachment to the results. So we'll get into a deeper discussion of what exactly these three characteristics mean, or what they, how we can actually practically exercise these characteristics or live by these characteristics. So first one is one who works in devotion. Devotion to whom? So the question comes up, okay, somebody may be very, very dedicated, very devoted to the work that they're doing. Is that what Krishna means? That be devoted to the work? Or who should we be devoted to? Second, who is a pure soul? So what is the meaning of a pure soul? Somebody might say, oh, I'm a very good person, or so-and-so is a very good person. They don't mean anybody harm, so on and so forth. Is that the definition of a pure soul, or is it something more than just that? And the third piece that we'll focus on is, and who controls his mind and senses. So the mind and senses controlled from what? Controlled from the objects of the senses. When the mind and the senses are controlled from the objects of the senses, what that means is, it's not as if our eyes don't see, or our tongue doesn't taste, or we don't speak, or our ears don't hear. Yes, they do. Senses will be engaged in activity, but one who controls his mind and senses, by that Krishna means that a person who knows what to speak, what to hear, what to see, what to touch, what to taste, and so forth. So the senses are engaged, the senses are working, but they are working in a manner that is related to serving Krishna. That's kind of the bottom line of all of this. And what happens as a result of being in that kind of state of mind or state of consciousness, Krishna says, when a person does that, the person is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Now, this is an interesting statement, because even though Prabhupada, for example, or let's take any of the acharyas, but Prabhupada, let's say, Prabhupada was a pure devotee of the Lord, but was he dear to everyone? It's very possible, and he himself says that there were some people who didn't care for him, you know. And so what this implies, it's not as if you can take this literally, but one has to understand that the person, what Krishna is indicating here, is that a person who works in Krishna consciousness, a person who works to please the Lord, obviously will never harm anybody else. And when a person has no malintent towards anybody, naturally the person will be viewed favorably by others. Now, many, as a part of material existence, it's just natural that there is envy. Human beings, we all have envy in our hearts in varying degrees. So out of envy, there were so many people who were envious of Prabhupada. So to them, Prabhupada was not there. They were envious of him. But that's not a failing in Prabhupada. That's a mistake, or that's a failing in the person, in the other person's perspective, not that of Prabhupada. So when Krishna says such a person is dear to everyone, what Krishna is indicating is that such a person always tries to serve others because he sees the presence of the Lord in everyone's heart, is kind to others, Now, to the extent that the other person cannot appreciate it, that doesn't mean that the person should change his or her ways. The person should continue with his or her ways, but keeping in mind that they are acting not for the sake of trying to get adoration or applause from other people, but they are acting in a certain way which is pleasing to the Lord. And when a person acts in a way that's pleasing to the Lord, naturally, uh, the person's activities become pleasing to other individuals as well. So Prabhupada in the purport gives this analogy that it's like watering the roots of a tree. So if you want to make the tree, or if you want the tree to be healthy, you don't water the leaves, you water the root of the tree. So similarly, when a person takes instructions from the Supreme Lord, because we are all children of the Supreme Lord, because we are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, when a person does whatever or whatever they do, when they do that in a manner to please the Lord, that naturally benefits all living entities. So that's why he says such a person is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. That's easier to understand because the person sees the presence of the Supreme Lord in everybody's heart, and therefore that type of person will never want to harm anybody, will always offer respects to the other living entities. And that's why everyone is dear to him. Now, of course, you might say, well, you have the children, you're more dear, you are more loving towards the children than to your neighbor. Sure, but that's natural. I mean, you have to be more dear to your children because, or your children are more dear to you than your neighbor is because you have a responsibility for your children. But at the same time, there are certain responsibilities towards other living entities as well. And the greatest responsibility that we have towards other living entities, or actually, let's open it up for discussion. What responsibility do we have towards other living entities? If anybody would like to comment on that, please.
Be fair. Hare
Sure.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, sure. Be fair, of course.
And then you control your emotions, do not judge others too much, and accept the people as they are.
Sure. Yeah. It's very nice. Non-judgmental. Mitranda Madhavi, got your hand up.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, repeat the question again, please, if you
Sure.
won't mind.
Yes. So Madhavi, what is the question basically was, what can we do to benefit others?
One of the greatest things that we can do, no matter from which geographic location you were born in, or your degrees or anything material, is to remind people of where they come from actually.
Right.
And as reminding people about God consciousness, whether they're Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's so many different ways that people in this yuga connect to God, whether they're walking out in nature or so many different things, just helping them remember that you're not the tops, the narcissistic tendencies and other tendencies in the world that are created by false ego. Whether you're, some people have members in their family who make them feel like they are the most important thing. And in that way, they sometimes forget Krishna and forget who they are as servants. So that's what I was taught by my guru, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, and I try to assist in that way. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. That's such a wonderful answer. And that's exactly, that's exactly the thought that I had and I wanted to share. And in fact, there's a beautiful quote by Srila Prabhupada, like every day, I mean, so there's this calendar that gives Prabhupada's quotes. And so the quote for 2nd September, and I'll just read it out, is that the spiritual master's qualification is he's trying his best to deliver the soul from these clutches of Maya. That is great service. Therefore, he is very dear. So it's very interesting that the verse that we were reading today kind of coincidentally is related to the quote that Prabhupada has for this day. He says that is great service, therefore he is very dear. One who is chanting or executing devotional service for his personal benefit, and one who's trying to deliver others for others' benefit, there's a difference. So exactly to your point, Mataji, it's Prabhupada is saying that it's very good for us to pursue devotional service and to try and advance ourselves in devotional service. But if we can help others also advance in devotional service and pursue the devotional service, then that is the greatest benefit that we can provide to other living entities. And the reason for that is very easy to understand. We are all children of the Supreme Lord. We've all kind of left our home in the spiritual world and we've come over to this material world. And the Supreme Lord doesn't want us to be here. He wants us to come back home. Now, those of us who are parents, we understand the value of wanting our children to come back home. And so if somebody helps your child find their way back to your house, obviously you'll reward them. I mean, you have all these posters put up there, missing child, reward so much for anybody who can provide information or bring the child home. And that's really what it is. I mean, we are all here in this material world, away from our real home, suffering in this material world for no good reason. And Krishna is saying, anybody who can bring you back to me is very dear to me. And so we can see why. And so that's why Krishna is saying here in this verse that one who controls his senses and works in devotion is dear to everyone, because that person is actually trying to help everybody attain their real goal of life, which is to go back home, back to Godhead, back to the spiritual world. So thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing that. Ramsham Prabhuji, you had your hand up.
Yeah, Prabhuji, so very well said, Prabhuji. How you already explained. Mataji has brought the perfectly correct point. In that regard only, like recently we were going through, in the Bhagavatam class, this same topic was there. So in the 5th canto, 5th chapter, there is the verse, verse number 18, the similar it talks like Guru na syat, swajano na syat, Pita na syat, janani na syat, evam na tatsyan, na pita na syam, na mochayande yas, samupeta mrityu. So the meaning like if being father, being mother, being like a member of the society or being a spiritual master, if we are not able to help any person or every person to deliver from this cycle of birth and death, so there is no use of being father, mother, or a spiritual master. So our duty, it becomes our duty that to help others to know about what is the cycle of birth and death and how one can deliver from this cycle of birth and death.
Beautiful, Prabhu. Thank you so much. That is the definition of a best friend. Yeah. Because not only, I mean, the person who helps us go back to the spiritual world, go back home, is the person who's helping end all of our suffering, all of our miseries, all of our problems. We are in this material world, and while you're here, you just have to go through birth, death, old age, disease. There's nothing anybody can do about it. Yeah. Somebody who helps us get out of here is the greatest benefactor, and greatest friend.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Ramchandra Prabhuji. That was a wonderful quote, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. By the way, Mitravinda Mataji, you just mentioned you're a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj. That's so wonderful. I mean, I have to say that, I mean, I've had the good fortune of getting Maharaj's association several times, and of course, many years ago in New Vrindavan Dham. And boy, I mean, there were some lectures of his that I sat through. Amazing, just totally amazing. And I think the whole pastime of how he left this world and how he left his body is just amazing. So obviously, I mean, a lot of people have a very special place in their hearts for His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj. And all I can say is I'm really, really thankful that I had the opportunity to get his association. It was a couple of festivals of inspiration in New Vrindavan and a few other occasions. He was just an amazing personality. So, anybody else? Any other thoughts, questions, comments? I think another day we'll sit and glorify His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj a little bit. I'm sure there are lots and lots of memories and nice pastimes of his that people remember. But, very wonderful teachings that he left us with. So very, very special.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, I never got chance to have the association, but I heard from one of the Guru Varga Acharya. So he was so nicely explaining, it's tears started flowing in the eyes, last kirtan, Jai 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 Radhe, Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Syam, Jai 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 Vrindavan Dham. Yeah, it's so amazing. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Syam, Jai 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 Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Syam, Jai 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 Vrindavan Dham. It's so mesmerizing, Prabhuji. So it's like when we hear heartily, heart gets melted.
Yes.
Tears will be flowing. So love, so affection, so love to the Krishna. So we can hear that from the YouTube. We can open and separately.
Yeah.
It's there. Nice, Prabhuji. Thank you for reminding and that you had the association with him several times. So having association to the pure soul, pure devotee, life gets totally transcendence. So yeah, thank you very much.
No, thanks to Mataji that she brought it up, because that's what brought the memories back, hearing his name.
Yeah.
Prabhu, I wanted to say, if I might, I'm very grateful to Srila Prabhupada, because it's through and because of Srila Prabhupada that I had the opportunity to meet my guru and receive his mercy causelessly. And I'm saying that in full and all honesty, because I'm very imperfect. I'm very flawed. And through all of that, my guru, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, was so compassionate to always give an opportunity. And a lot of times those opportunities were given without qualification, just the faith and hope and understanding of who I am, even though I still fully don't know who I am. I hear, I read, I heard my Guru Maharaj. He gave so many wonderful opportunities. I we all had very, in DC, Washington, DC, I come from the original preaching center that he started. And
Okay.
so I had the opportunity to be his secretary.
Oh, wow.
And I edited and transcribed his earlier books. So again, I'm trained in administration. So just to be a part of that and to have the large amounts of his mercy are what I live on right now in difficult moments, in moments where I don't have a lot to give, in moments where my faith is waning. I live on my Guru Maharaj's faith in Srila Prabhupada and what he brought, and how he offered that to myself and my God brothers and God sisters, and anyone and everyone around him, to include ministers who came to our preaching center, to the Sunday feast, and participated, and so many other spiritual leaders in Washington, D.C. at that time, who were completely blessed to have his association, and they trusted him enough to hear what he said, and they didn't feel outside enough to not want to come in. And so it was a dialogue about faith. And so I'm grateful to my Guru Maharaj's mercy, and I'm a chaplain. And so that word chaplain is a Christian word, and I was raised in Christianity, and I'm thankful for it, because it led me to where I could be connected with this parampara and Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya's mission and my Guru Maharaj and all of you. So it keeps me alive when I'm feeling frustrated or sad or what have you, whatever material energy brings, it holds me and keeps me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anji. That is indeed wonderful to hear. So I'm sure you have a lot of lots and lots of memories of such a wonderful exalted soul as Bhagavad Maharaj. And just for others who may not be aware, I mean, he was a very, very, well, even materially, very accomplished person. I mean, he was from Princeton. And right, isn't that right, Nityananda Mataji? And
yes, Prabhu, he was considered genius as a child, and he was offered full scholarship at Princeton, and so many other things. Yes, and he was also incarcerated in Russia for distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. A lot of people don't know these things about my Guru Maharaj. And he also went into Jagannath Temple in Jagannath Puri, and he got in and he saw Lord Jagannath, and then they realized he was a Westerner, and they chased him with the sticks. Yeah, they chased him with sticks, but he was an athlete and a sportsman, and they couldn't catch him, so he made it out. Lord Jagannath's mercy.
Nice. So blissful.
And that is so wonderful. Actually, it's such a sweet thing about the Jagannath temple that they don't allow anybody who's not an Indian body to come in. And I think these sort of pastimes kind of reflect on another side of the sweetness of the Supreme Lord, right? In the sense that these devotees are so protective of Lord Jagannath. They say, like, he's mine, he's mine, he's mine, so they're just so possessive about him, so that there's that's another sweetness in the whole thing. And I think, I mean, on one hand, somebody might feel offended that why are you not allowing me to come into the temple just based on a bodily consideration. But if one thinks beyond that, it's just the possessiveness that the devotee has for the Supreme Lord. Anyway.
Yes, and protectiveness too, because I mean, if you think about it, the British came into India and they did horrible things in temples.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and that's another large topic, interesting topic for discussion. But I mean, so many of the original deities from Vrindavan were shifted out and went into places that were safer.
In fact, I heard that my understanding is that the Hope Diamond was in Radharani's tika in a temple. And that diamond is now part of the monarchy's, Queen Elizabeth and her family. It's in their treasure chest of things that they've taken from the world. But the Hope Diamond, this very, very rare jewel that's quite large, was in Srimati Radharani's tika in India, is what I understood. And they took it out and did a lot of other things. So Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I mean, there's just so that's probably one of the reasons why the pujaris of the Jagannath temple are very, very protective, So,
Yeah.
oh, well, I think I apologize again for starting late, and so don't want to end too late. It's 9:15 already, so well past our time, but I think we'll stop here. So thank you everybody so much for your association, and we'll
Before we close, one announcement, Prabhuji. So on Sunday, we have Ganda Pravachan by 10 a.m. morning. And this Sunday, Mukunda Krishna Singh, Mukunda, my son,
oh, wonderful,
going to present on, that amazing facts of the Radharani, Srimati Radharani.
Wonderful.
So, we are speaking about Srimati Radharani. Tomorrow is the Radha Ashtami. So to get the blessings, mercy of to getting the mercy of Radharani is very important. And then only we can get, any, mercy of the Krishna. If Krishna only, then can be pleased.
Yes.
So that's the announcement for Sunday, Poganda Pravachan. So yeah, so rest we are good. We can.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. And Srimati Radharani ji ki jai. Tomorrow is tomorrow, of course, we'll celebrate Radha Ashtami. So
yeah,
happy Radha Ashtami to everybody, and we'll probably get your association Krishna wedding next week. Hare Krishna.
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe Radhe. Jai Shri Radharani.